What?
Who won?
I gotta think about that for a second.
I know
Tonight is the... Good morning and welcome to today's current events. I'm Lauren Mathis here with Libby Faro. So we are going to get started today. So Libby, last night was this past weekend was the Final Four,
yes.
and tonight is the title game. And there was a huge upset for Auburn against Virginia. And the last, I think it was 0.6 seconds of the game, the Virginia double dribbled the ball, and Auburn thought they won. At Auburn University, they were going and teeping on the trees. What do you have to say about that?
Honestly, seeing that on Twitter, the Auburn fans so disappointed was one of my greatest joys because they were so excited. They were celebrating so hard, but just to know that they lost was like a really good feeling just because we're such rivals.
So who do you think is going to win the title game this with Michigan State losing out? We got a Virginia Texas Tech title game.
Okay, so between the two, I haven't really kept up as much, but between the two, I would say I think Virginia might win. I'm not rooting for anyone specifically, but I'm just happy Auburn lost because if they won, that would be held over our heads for so long just because they would do that. But I think maybe Virginia will win.
Did you make a bracket this year?
I did not make a bracket. This is my first year not making a bracket.
So being a student at the University of Alabama, that's going to lead me to my second question. We just had our Alabama head coach Avery Johnson out as the coach at Alabama, and now we have Nate Oates from Buffalo, Buffalo's former head coach. With Alabama not making it to the championship or to the tournament again for the past, I believe, 3 years under Coach Avery Johnson, do you think it was the right decision for them to say goodbye?
I love Avery Johnson as a person. I think he, means well, but I think it was kind of time to bring somebody else in because I feel like the basketball team has so much potential. And, he just said things like, we'll get better, but, I just felt as if they weren't. They almost need, a Nick Saban in the basketball, head coach. So I think it was a good choice to go ahead and kind of move him out and pick someone else. So hopefully next season we'll see some changes.
For Alabama.
Yes, anything is possible.
Yes, exactly. And we are going to go back over to football now.
Okay.
So Antonio Brown, I'm not sure if you follow the Steelers. I'm not a very big Steelers fan myself, but he's, off to Oakland after this past season with his discrepancies with the Steelers.
Right.
He's had a little beef going on recently with Juju Smith being the one who's taking the starting position and putting basically all of his emotions out on Twitter, not leaving anything, putting everything on the table. What do you think this is a good way to vocalize his jealousy? Because now he's basically showing all of his cards, showing that he is upset that he did lose the starting position because, he wasn't getting what he wanted. So what do you think about that?
I mean, Twitter is a touchy subject. I feel like you can either vocalize your opinions in a good way or a bad way, but I also see a lot of people probably viewing him as just kind of entitled because he's mad he lost his position. But I don't know, it's so tricky with the Twitter thing because it can go both ways.
Right.
So I don't know, it could be a good place, but it couldn't be. But I can see both sides of him, the benefits and the negatives about it.
Right. Okay, so to back away a little bit from sports, we are going to go to entertainment. So Lori Loughlin, Felicity Huffman, they've been going through, this college admissions scandal with both of their kids. And so what is it like to see people that, I don't know if you watched Desperate Housewives, Full House.
I watched Full House as a kid, and it's just so, this isn't funny, but I saw when Lori was walking into the courtroom, she was greeting her fans. And
signing autographs.
And I'm like, wait, you might go to jail. Right. You're probably going to go to jail.
Smile on her face.
And she's like, hey, I'm like, oh my gosh. So it's just so interesting to see her, I think she thinks maybe since she's a celebrity, she's going to be fine. But, I'm like, no, this is real. Right. I don't know if she thinks, this is really happening. So that whole scandal has just been, so mind-boggling to me because you hear about those things, but, you never see anything being done about it. And, now it's
one of the biggest news stories in the nation.
I'm following it so well because I'm like, what is going to happen?
Right. I know these people. I followed them.
Yeah, because you, grew up watching them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now we are going to switch over to our last section in politics.
Oh, no.
So there was just a woman from California, I believe Northern California, but I'm not absolutely sure on that. It was her dream to go to Uganda. and to go on a safari there, and she loved animals, and so she went on her own to Uganda with this tour guide, and she was captured and held for ransom. She's now been released. But do you think that's something that more people like this woman that are going to want to, go on a safari, go to a different country, feel safe, because Uganda is supposed to be a safe place for people to go to? Do you think that's a big concern we should have?
Oh, it's definitely a big concern, and I see the concerns from that, obviously. I mean, that makes me nervous if I'm ever going to go to Uganda and go on a safari. What if I get kidnapped, basically? That is terrifying. So I don't know, but I also think maybe it has something to do with our politics and like who our president is. And so maybe like other countries are kind of not taking advantage of Americans, but just like seeing it as an opportunity to make a point.
Exactly. All right. Well, thank you, Libby, for taking the time to speak with me today.
Thanks,
That is all we have for today. So I hope you have a great one. Enjoy the weather. Enjoy the weather.
Oh my gosh, I don't have that many questions. Okay.
I probably said too many.
It's okay.
Because I didn't just want to talk about sports, and I'm like,
You're like, one more thing.
I know.
Good morning. I am Libby Farrow, and I am here with Lauren Mathis. Hello, Lauren. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. So to kick off our talk, we're going to talk about, my first question is what is your thoughts about the whole Uber incident with the student at University of Southern Carolina?
Yes,
you know what I'm talking about.
South Carolina,
yes.
Columbia.
I don't know why I said Southern. Yes. What are your thoughts about that? Like, what do you think moving forward Uber should do, or what's like the stigma about Uber now?
I think, especially growing up with a father who is a police officer, that's a very big concern. That people need to be more worried, and students are trusting. And these people, there's alcohol involved. They feel confident. They just get in a car. You think Uber's reliable,
right?
But I think that I've heard that, how some delivery services, they have that thing on the top of their car. I don't know the exact word for it. The banner.
The
board.
I know what you're talking about.
I think that is something, because they're expensive. I think that's something that Uber, being a $1 million whatever company it is, has the ability to invest in. And I think that if they made it just a little more difficult for people to be impersonators, that would definitely help out. But I think women, males, they just need to keep it in mind all the time. Like, be safe, be cautious always. Like, you never know who you're getting in a car with. That's one thing you learn from your parents when you're younger, and you need to carry it with you through college and beyond.
Because close to home, like the whole fake Uber incident with, taking pictures of girls in the car, like, that didn't happen to me, and I know it didn't happen to you, but like even just like that, like that's terrifying.
It's being in your town where you're living, and there's a guy just pictures of girls on his phone sleeping in the back of the car.
And what do you think about, like, even though it's not technically Uber, how do you think Uber is like taking all the backlash on this?
Well, I think because they are Uber and people they say that they don't take clients, or they don't take people that sign up to be Uber drivers very easily. I think that they do kind of make it too easily, and they do need to make greater background checks. And it might be difficult, but it's worth it. It's worth it to go that extra mile and to, take that extra step just to ensure safety.
Right. So, change of topics. We're going to talk about the March Madness.
Okay.
So, tell me a little bit about, if you made a bracket, what are your thoughts, and what are your thoughts about the whole Auburn upset versus Virginia?
I did make a bracket. Actually, my younger cousin made a bracket, and so my whole family joined it, and I was doing very well in the beginning, very, very well. I think I was in second place up until Duke lost. That's what did it for me.
That right there.
But being an Alabama student, I am not an Auburn fan.
Right.
So watching that game this past weekend was crazy. I thought that they had it in the bag at the end of the game. I thought they were going to make it all the way. Luckily, they did not. To the title game. But when I was watching that game this past weekend and saw Virginia double dribble the ball, I just couldn't believe it. And, Auburn 2 seconds left of the game, trying to throw it down the court for that last shot. It was just heartbreaking. And I guess some Auburn fans kind of just jumped the gun too soon, went and started doing their thing, toilet papering the trees, and just kind of embarrassing for them.
Oh my gosh, it was so embarrassing. But it was I feel it. Like, it
Yeah.
was so good to, like, to see their pain.
Especially knowing that when we lost the national title game for football, they went and toilet papered their trees again, so.
Yes. So moving forward, you know, A-Day's coming up. What are your thoughts about the whole game? You know, A-Day coming up with, you know, we didn't win the national championship this year, but what do you think Nick Saban's plan is? Or, like, how do you think he's going to go about this year?
I think I've seen a few articles recently saying that they are coming back and they're going to be better than ever. They're going to be stronger than ever. I think they're going to come back with a vengeance, and they want to show that they aren't the team that lost in the championship game. Anything can happen in a big game like that. They were amazing all season, and, you know, you get to that last game, everything's on the table.
Right.
It's different. That's your last game.
Right.
So I think now Nick Saban is going to bring the team out and show that we are the same team from last year, but better.
Right.
Like every year, they're going to keep getting better. They're going to keep growing because that's the kind of coach he is, and it's the process. So right now, they're beginning again, and they're going to come back better than ever. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch next weekend.
I think it'll be interesting, too. Well, that's it for now. I'm Libby, and this is Lauren. Thank you for watching.
Thank you. I think we killed it. I say too much. Okay.
No, you're fine. I'll see you in class Wednesday.
Yes, we will see you Wednesday.